Currently, in this chapter of the Yoga Vasistha and previous chapter, we're looking into the belief in an external reality. And this belief is one which occludes the reality of our consciousness. Giving up this belief in an external reality is not something that we can just do as an intellectual exercise. We have to feel the reality of our own consciousness and dismantle all the arguments that we've got for the belief in an external reality. On a purely physical level, we cannot argue for the belief in an external reality. Everything that's happening is happening right here. If I hear a sound, there's a sound of soft rain at the moment, where is that sound? The sound is created right here. Right here. That's where it's experienced. We'll say the cause of the sound is out there. And that's how we construct our reality. We extrapolate from here to a notional out there. Because we don't want to accept that it's just happening. It's just happening. There actually isn't any in here or out there. It's not in here as opposed to out there. I'm only saying there's in here to take us away from the notion of out there, to bring our awareness back to the center, to the only place, in fact. We extrapolate the notion of an out there. And you might argue, well, of course you're hearing it here, it's all been experienced here, but the cause is out there. We cannot know out there. This is what the scientists tell us. They'll tell us we can only know indirectly. Well, if that's the case, how can we even say there's something out there? The scientists will tell us we can know nothing about out there directly. When you see something, you're only experiencing reflected light. In fact, you're not even experiencing that, you're experiencing the brain's construction based on an electrical signal. That's how the senses operate. The reality out there is completely unknown, and yet we give that objective reality, we say it's objective reality. Well, let's just drop it. We can't. The scientists say it cannot be directly known. We cannot even say anything about it, except if you want to take your cue from some mathematical equations. That's the reality. So let's just drop it. It's all happening right here. It's all happening right now. So we need to de-invest from the notions of the belief in an external reality. Of course, on an everyday level, we operate with that assumption. That's the convention that we use. It's a convention, it's not reality. Vasistha continued. Creation of the universe and its dissolution are only deluded notions that arise in consciousness. When the notion of creation remains sustained for a long time, it is taken to be real. In other words, when it's not challenged, when we don't look into it, we start believing our own conventions, our own conveniences. We start believing our own conveniences to be truth. It's rather like believing that milk is a powder that you add water to. If you live in a hot country and this is the only experience you have with milk, then that's what milk is for you. It's a powder that comes out of a tin and you add water to it to make milk. That's what milk is. So this convenience becomes the reality of the milk, completely dissociated from the cow, even though there might be a cow in the picture of the tin. What's the picture of that cow got to do with the powder in the tin? But let's assume there's no cow on the tin. Well, this cow would be like consciousness, and the external world is like the contents of the tin. The cow has been completely forgotten, and yet the cow is the source. The cow is the original source, the only source for the contents of the tin. Although all sorts of other ingredients might be added to it, obscuring it even further. So the reality of the cow is completely forgotten. So this is the convenience which we then take as reality. That becomes the milk, the external world becomes reality, and consciousness which gives rise to all is completely forgotten. So it needs to be challenged, and we don't challenge it, that becomes the reality. The objective appearance of the universe appears spontaneously in the cosmic being, just as a dream arises after a period of deep sleep. This is what happens. The whole of reality comes. When I open my eyes, if I've got my eyes closed and I open them, the whole of the whole visual aspect of the universe suddenly appears to me. Isn't this amazing? It's gone. I close my eyes, it's gone. I open my eyes, it's suddenly all here. It's such an everyday thing, isn't it? We do this all the time without thinking about it. But if you start thinking about it, what is actually going on here, even if you try to understand it in conventional terms? What amount of processing is going on for my brain to construct the whole visual panorama? And it does it instantly, doesn't it? Instantly. Is there actually any kind of processing power capable of this? This is the power of consciousness. Everything arises instantaneously. We can't think of it in terms of processing power, because it dwarfs any kind of figure that you might put to it. There's no processing going on. The processing is just a way of trying to describe things in analytical terms. And good luck if that's what you want to do. But there isn't any processing going on. It's simply happening. This is the power, the omnipotence of consciousness. So it's all arising just as in a dream. Just as a dream arises. After this, consciousness itself gives rise within itself to the notions of memory and psychological categories, earth and the other elements. So we think, well, the universe is persistent, it keeps on staying here, but this is the quality that consciousness gives it. Consciousness gives us memories. I had a dream last night. I had a girlfriend in it. It wasn't my proper girlfriend. Sorry if she's watching this. I don't know who she was, but she was clearly my girlfriend, and I had that intimacy and familiarity with her, which comes from being based on memories and all the rest of it. This is what consciousness does. It gives us that feeling of continuity, that feeling of external reality. But let's not forget where the milk comes from.